Hi, I'm Mima, and today I'm going to take you through my recreation of the HMS Divinity from the video game Guild Wars 2 using materials I found around the house. Guild Wars 2 is an MMORPG that I've played since the end of 2016, and over the years I spent playing it, I've completely fallen in love with the game. The story, the world, the characters, they're all so fascinating and so mesmerizing. And I love playing the game too. It's really fun. I don't get a lot of chances to play it because what's more important is working on schoolwork and making sure that I get all my work done. And in life, that should be how you do things. Get your things done first and then play the games. But while I have free time, sometimes I like to spend my time building things based off of the things that I love. And one of the things that I love to do is build recreations of the items that I find in the games I play. Like, for example, when I was younger, I used to build tons of things. I used to recreate tons of items from Team Fortress 2. Um, I think the only remaining one I have is like a cardboard dispenser. But going back to the topic of this video, last summer I started working on a project where I wanted to build something from Guild Wars 2. And that thing was a something called a legendary in that game that takes quite a lot of time, effort, or money to acquire. And the HMS Divinity is a it's absurd. It's a cannon, ship, rifle, all in one. And if it existed in real life, it would be absolutely insane. And just because it was so cool, I wanted to make it in real life. So here's how I did it. The only materials I used were cardboard, sticks, hot glue, and imagination. First, I constructed a skeleton for the ship out of Connects pieces. And, we just had tons of Connects pieces lying around, kind of like Legos. So I decided, might as well incorporate it into this project. After that, then I covered the structure with some cardboard. But in order to make the curved shape of the boat, you have to do a bit of finagling. So we've encountered a problem, which is with making the curves on the boat. And the reason why is because when you curve a surface, you can't curve it in the other direction easily. So what we're going to do is instead we're going to fold it over a bit so that it allows us to curve it in both this direction and in this direction. And it gives us sort of a bowl. And that's what I'm going to do with this cardboard here. I'm going to make sure that it's able to curve in this direction as well as in this direction by putting these strips over each other. So what this does is basically I'm going to fold it like this. I'm going to fold it like this. So we have that curvature in this direction. But I also want the curvature in this direction. So when I fold these together, you can see I have the curvature in this direction and the curvature in this direction. So first, in order to retain the bowl shape, I hot glued the sheets of cardboard together. And then after that, in order to secure it to the ship, or to the skeleton, I hot glued the cardboard to the Connects pieces. I'd originally intended to use an actual cardboard tube as the cannon for the ship, but it was too small, so I ended up taking a sheet of cardboard, wrapping it around that tube, and using it to form a bigger tube that I covered in black construction paper and used as the cannon for the ship. And then I just mounted it onto the structure. Once I had the general look of the ship down, I added some other features in order to make it look closer to the in-game model. The masks were made out of thick wooden dowels that, as you got to the top of the mast, I used thinner wooden dowels so that it seemed like it would taper. I added some sails on the front of it by using dowels and uh, taking some cardstock or cardboard from I think an erector set, and then curving it a bit and then gluing it on so that it looked it resembled sails. After that, I added a flag on the top of the mast, and then I took the entire mast uh, and I secured it to the side of a wooden cylinder. And the reason I did this was so that I could put the wooden cylinder on a uh, bamboo skewer, because the bamboo skewer would allow me to move the to angle the mast wherever I wanted it. And this is important because in the actual game, the mast fold down when the item is not in use. So I wanted to try to incorporate that feature into my design. What's cool about using materials you find around your house is that you have to be creative in how you use them. And actually, I found this pack of those wooden cylinders I was talking about earlier, and I decided to use them in as many parts of the design as I thought would be natural. So not only did I use them in the masts, I used the wooden cylinders as the cannons on the side of the ship. And I also used them as the pegs on the side of the captain's wheel that goes on the top of the HMS Divinity.
By Ogden's Hammer. What savings?
In order to make the captain's wheel, I traced and cut out some cardboard rings, and then I cut the ring in half so that I could use each half on each side of the captain's wheel. Because I really only need to make half of a captain's wheel, so it was okay. Then after that, I took a strip of cardboard and I connected the two halves of the ring so that it was 3D. After that, I took the wooden cylinders and I evenly spaced them on what was left of the ring to make it look like it was a captain's wheel. And then I glued that entire thing onto the top of the ship. The next thing I did was I molded some cardboard in order to make it look like a bell. And that was a relatively easy job because most of it was just curved, symmetrical, easy to work with geometry. But, but, at the front of the ship, there are these two ladies holding swords, and I have no idea where to start with building human figures out of cardboard. So, in order to do this, I just I freestyled, I guess. I took a strip of cardboard, I put some cuts in it, and I wove them together to make it look like a human as best as I could. At least with this one, I didn't have to worry as much because if it was cardboard, it was meant to be not really detailed. So I knew I had some creative liberty here. So eventually, I was able to form the shape of the lady as best as I could. I added some strips where I couldn't. I had some strips of cardboard in order to add some detail, like the hair and stuff. And if the thing broke apart, I would add some more cardboard just to reinforce it. But at the end of it, I got some pretty cool. Um, I don't know what they're called, uh, ship ladies. But anyway, I put them on the end of the ship, and they were good to go. I mean, at this point of the process, I had a boat. It was a pretty cool boat too. But I wanted to go the further step and actually make it the HMS Divinity. And in order to do that, I needed to add the handle and the stock. Adding the handle is a monumental task because you need to make sure that the handle is secured as tightly as possible to the boat so that the boat, because the weight of the boat doesn't snap the handle off. So I took some wooden dowels and skewers and I put them in the core of the handle in order to secure it as best as I possibly could to the inside of the boat. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of this. I think they got lost because I know I did take pictures of this. But anyway, to make the stock, that was some simple cardboard tracing in hot gluing, and then after that, I put some more cardboard sheets around the initial frame. I think, and these cardboard sheets represented the metal that goes around the, I guess, the metal trim that goes around the handle and the bottom of the ship. In the end, it looked pretty good. Now I had the basic form or the basic appearance of the HMS Divinity, and it was pretty recognizable as the HMS Divinity. But I wanted to make sure that it looked as accurate as I could get it to, and looked as cool as I could get it to, the in-game model. So in order to do that, I painted it and I added a few more trim and decoration to make it look cool. Unfortunately, I did not record it, and the parts that I did record are lost. So in order to describe it, I'm going to have to use videos of the already completed HMS Divinity. To make the trim, I used some thin cardboard, almost like cardstock, and I tried forming them as best as possible as I could to get close to the look in game. And in the end, it turned out pretty well. The next step after that was to make I, I really don't know what they're called, like this netting or this rope that covers the side of the ship, somewhere near where the captain's cabin would be. And in order to do that, I made it out of some toothpicks, and then I covered these toothpicks with some just cardboard circles, just to make it look at like whatever the in-game model intended it to be. Because I'm not really sure what it was. Maybe someone in the comments might want to. If you know what it is, can you if you know what if you know what that thing on the side of the HMS Divinity is, I'd really appreciate if you commented down below and told me what it was, because I'm really interested in what it actually is intended to be. I finished up the build by painting it, and painting was I just went freestyle on it, and I used some cheap Apple Barrel matte acrylic paint to paint it. And in the end, it wasn't that bad of a job, so I'm pretty proud of it actually. I think I had a good enough color variation for it to look at least presentable. And sometimes I used metallic paints to make the actual metal parts in game appear as if they were metal. So hopefully that looks good on video, but it definitely looks good in real life.
Alright, so I guess that's all I have for now for me showing you how I built the HMS Divinity out of cardboard, wooden cylinders, and creativity. If you are planning on doing this yourself, always make sure that you're safe. For example, if you're using hot glue, make sure you follow the proper procedures for using a hot glue gun. And if you're cutting cardboard, make sure that you stay safe while you're cutting it. I would show you what the HMS Divinity looks like when I'm holding it, but currently it's hanging up right now in front of me, and I don't feel like taking it down right now because it's a huge hassle to put it back up. But I do have a picture of me holding it. And for now, if you have any questions for me, please put them down in the description down below. If you have any tips for building that cardboard creations in the future, I would definitely appreciate them. My biggest gripe with the HMS Divinity, the one that I built, is that it's very, very curvy, very bulbous, whereas in the actual model, it's very, at least the underside of the boat is very straight. Mine was very, very curved. So, if you have anything else to offer me about building a cardboard creation, or like just if you love Guild Wars 2, just talk about it in the comments down below. I appreciate all your comments and your participation, and if you haven't already, subscribe. So I'm not sure if I already said this, but I'm Ayman, and thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and look at other videos on Ayman. I might be doing more videos like this in the future. My only thing with that is that I've already made creations of the Shining Blade and Eternity, which you might see in the background of some of the photos. Um, but I didn't take any pictures of the actual process. I do have some photos. I mean, I didn't take any videos during the process. I do have some photos, but um, that by itself isn't enough for a video. If you have any recommendations for how I can conduct my next few videos, for example, I know one thing is like um, I didn't have like any videos of me doing the actual process, like of hot gluing or cutting, or even just like painting. I didn't have any videos of that. So if you have any recommendations on how I should do that in the future, please tell me down in the description in the comment down below, and I'll respond. But for now, I'm Myman, and signing out. All things have a right to grow. Peace.